Report to Conference Executive will be my last as Chair of the Synod. I've done a 3-year term, so I'll be moving on. Very happy to say that my replacement Chair, Reverend Gary Clark, also has an island perspective coming from PEI, so some of you may already know it. Key issues facing our Synod, major issue is the local economy. Bermuda has a history of having a very positive and strong economy, but in the last 3-4 years it's been declining somewhat. The root cause of that is really former policies which have discouraged the influx of expatriate workers. Those are the people that pay our rents, buy food in restaurants. So if you want an example of having an experiential reality of not being affirming, that's one of them. So this is quite a crisis. There are families that are really struggling now, people who can't pay their mortgages, and so the Synod has been acting to try and do what we can to help. One of the things that the Synod has done is created a pamphlet, a documentation of where people can find a meal on particular days of the week or during the month, and where they can get supplies and this type of thing. And the churches as well are involved in helping feed people and provide them with supplies. So our church, for example, has it's the second Thursday of every month we have the Ebenezer and Friends meal, and I think the last time we had about 90 people there. And Wesley are doing, they provide personal supplies for people, deodorant and toothpaste and things like that. So things are getting a little tough. They will turn around eventually. Bermuda has a long history and we've always had challenges, so we will get over this as well, but it is difficult. Yes, and we also have a prison visitation ministry that started up in one of the churches and will be expanded to other churches in the Synod. On a positive note, I'd like to comment on our musical ministry. That's been an interesting development. As we're Methodists in Bermuda, music is a very key part, as it is in the United Church as well. It's a key part of who we are. And recently, one of the churches started a new band called Leviticus. And Leviticus is basically a jazz gospel type band, but because the minister in this church, which happens to be mine, is an African Methodist Episcopal, the members of the band, excepting me, are all from other types of churches, Pentecostal, and they're really good musicians. So we're going to be doing a tour of the churches in Bermuda, particularly the Synod churches, and we've got our eye on the Maritimes one day maybe, so you never know. There's also a really good choral group at Wesley called the Ambassadors, and the Emmanuel Church Choir also excellent. They're an excellent choir. They work hard and they help out the other churches when needed. So I think that's I think what I raised it, I think, because I think I've come to a realization in myself, a deeper realization of how important music is in connecting with the Holy Spirit. And I think I picked that up more from working with musicians from different church cultures. The drummer in our band he changes the beat and he tells me the Holy Spirit told him to do that. And at first I used to think, really? And now I know what he's talking about. So, yeah. As I mentioned before, and I won't go on this too much because I have talked about it a bit, but the Synod has been having further dialogue on the issue of sexual orientation. There's been an election in November we have a new government now, and it looks clear that the new government will be introducing protection under our Human Rights Act for age and sexual orientation. Marriage is still not on the cards yet, and I think the local LGBT community are sort of trying to figure out, do we push for that, or is human rights more important at this point in time? There has been further discussion at the level of Synod. We've had some good dialogue about the issue of sexual orientation because it's coming a lot in the news through the other churches, and there's also some sensitivities in at least one of the congregations in our synod. And so we've had some dialogue. There has also been some dialogue at the level, I would say, of the official board. And I think where we'd like to try and move to, or many on synod would like to try and move to, is having more dialogue at the congregational level. And that's why I was particularly interested in the exercise we did during the Affirm section of the agenda today. I was quite impressed with that. I think in terms of membership, I think we're pretty much holding our own, but it is always a challenge trying to get the work of Synod and the work of churches done with the limited resources that we have. We do have additional lay preachers now. Two of the ministers last year did a course on lay preaching. We had about 6 or 7 people involved. So they're now preaching, and we're going to be recognizing their skills formally through a service. Synod also has 2 active candidates for ministry. One, David Campbell, originally from Wesley. I think he's got about another year at AST before his ordination. And we have another one as well who's hoping to start AST in September. So
who's that? And how's that David? Who's that David?
Well,
Rocket starter minister.
Yeah, so our vision really as Synod is to be focused on more cooperation between our 3 churches, so that we're not doing the same thing 3 times. We're being more efficient and sharing our gifts together. We're going to do a pulpit exchange sometime during the year. We look forward to our upcoming visit, the President of Conference, which is coming up soon next week.
So does he.
We'll give you the time. And we'll have up as normal when the President comes. We talk about the relationship with the United Church, and particularly the Maritimes. The one thing I've been pushing is our relationship with the Maritimes is a very old relationship. It predates the United Church of Canada, so I think it means a lot to a number of people. So I think the relationship is, I would say, it's reasonably healthy, but I think we always need to look for opportunities to make it stronger, because things can throw it off. We're a different country, and things can affect that. We're looking forward also to the visit of the moderator of the United Church, which will be in October of 2014. Where is the Spirit of Jesus in the religious life of the Methodist Synod? I'm reminded of the story from John chapter 21, where the disciples decide they want to go back to something that they're used to. They get in their boat, they go up on the lake, and they're trying to fish as they normally do. And there's a man on the shore saying, "Do you have any fish?" And he said, "No, we don't." He says, "Try throwing your nets out on the other side of the boat." As she discovered, that wasn't necessarily an easy thing to do, because they used to use 2 nets. One was what they called a veranda net. You had to drag it around in a circle, and it was like a cylinder that went from the floor of the ocean, floor of the lake to the surface, and then they had to throw a weighted trammel net on top of that pulled the fish to the bottom. And then someone had to jump in and pull it out with the fish in it, and that was Peter, which is why he was naked apparently. So what does that tell me? I think we need to our growing challenge and call in the Wesley Methodist Church is to acknowledge that though we could sometimes in the past fish with relative confidence on the port side of the boat, the significant changes in our island's economy, the growing call for human rights, the need to continue the ministry of the church with sometimes dwindling resources, and the opportunities of making connections with other faith communities, as we have been doing, indicates that the fish have moved as they do. We expect the fish to stay still in one place. So we need to cast our nets over to the starboard side, and as disciples of Jesus, to view our challenges less from the inside of the boat and more from the perspective of that man who's standing on the shore. Sometimes, as we sang earlier, our body and soul need a soaking from time to time. Thank you.
All right.